Hey there everyone, it's me again, and today I got something special for you. As you know, there are no traditional roles like healer or tank in Guild Wars 2. Well, there are, but it's not as obvious or streamlined as in, for example, World of Warcraft. Oh, and speaking of WoW, I'm really looking forward to the Shadowlands expansion. Some big changes are supposedly coming, so it will maybe make the game actually good. Anyway, today I present to you the Holy Paladin, Guardian, Staff Guardian. Yeah, it's a healing Guardian thing. So, what is this build all about? Well, it's about healing, and also it provides some other boons aside from regeneration, but mostly it just focuses on healing. And it feels really strange because the way the skills complement each other, the build actually came together rather easily, and the strange thing is that nobody actually plays this. No, I haven't seen anyone play Staff Guardian or healing focus Guardian, at least not in Conquest. Maybe there are some in higher tier fractals. I know there are some Guardian healing specs for raiding, or some Firebrand healing specs. And by the way, I have actually considered making this Firebrand spec, but the whole books mechanic feels a little clunky and, well, not really that clunky, but it feels a lot like a hassle, and this seems just easier to use and also easier to stick with the gimmick of just healing. So first let's quickly take a look at the weapons. Our first weapon or weapon set obviously being a staff. Well, the first skill is a huge disappointment for me. I feel like this is basically useless. Back in the day of Heart of Thorns, you know, around the time it was released or shortly after the release, I still remember there was basically cone attack. In this spot it was just a huge AoE. It was, well, cone more like a half circle in front of you. It hit reasonably hard, and it was pretty good in Conquest 2 because it was extremely easy to actually hit several enemies at once and get some basically free justice procs on them. So nowadays we got this abomination, which is actually a ranged attack chain, and it fires 3 different projectiles, the first one being useless because it's just too weak, the second one being almost useful. It's a slightly larger ball that explodes on impact, and the final one being again absolutely useless. It's a huge blue ball of doom that does really nice damage, but it moves extremely slowly, and the fact that it's huge, glowing and extremely slow means that you won't basically be able to hit anyone, because no one is just going to stand there and wait for your blue balls to hit him in the face. Next up we got Holy Strike, which is just an AoE damage slash heal. Coming up next is the Symbol of Swiftness, which does exactly what the name implies. It's a symbol that provides swiftness to all allies passing through, and it does a little bit of AoE damage. Our second to last staff skill is Empower, which is a channeled heal. It heals all allies around you and provides them with several stacks of might. And the final staff skill is Line of Warding, which is this wall of blue translucent fire that's supposed to keep the enemies out, but as you can see, the duration is rather short, so while it has some uses, it's not like you can put it in front of a control point and just wait, basically capture it safely. Our second weapon set is a mace and a shield, and for mace skills we got our attack chain, which does decent damage, although it's nothing spectacular, and on the final strike it actually heals nearby allies for a bit. Our second mace skill is another symbol. It's a huge AoE that provides regeneration to allies. And our final mace skill is this block that provides aegis and protection. For our shield skills, we got a Shield of Judgment, which is an AoE that provides aegis and protection to allies. And finally we got Shield of Absorption, which absorbs projectiles. Well, obviously it's called Shield of Absorption, and when you recast it, it detonates, and yeah, the detonation actually doesn't deal damage, it just heals nearby allies. And it's a really nice crowd control tool as well, because the expansion of the shield actually pushes enemies away. And yes, you can actually quite easily kill people in certain arenas, like or on certain maps like Skyhammer, where there are those relatively tight like bridges over the, and they are near the edge of the map, and when you actually use this to shove people off, they will instantly die. So our utility skills are next. For our healing skill we take Receive the Light, just because it's a nice AoE healer. Next we take Hold the Line, which is a shout that provides protection and regeneration for all nearby allies. Then we take Merciful Intervention, which allows to shadow step to someone, and when we shadow step to someone using this, we actually heal them. And by the way, you cannot use this to escape. Well, you can, but it requires a target. So if there is no one, it will just you will just basically waste the skill. You need some ally to shadow step to. And then we got Sanctuary, which is this blue dome, looks similar to the Shield of Absorption, and it, as well as the Shield of Absorption, it actually blocks missiles or absorbs projectiles, and it provides some healing, but it has a count of 20 impacts, so it's rather limited, and if there are like 1 or 2 rangers facing you, it won't help you much. Same goes for the Shield of Absorption. It doesn't have a limit on the number of projectiles, but it lasts only 4 seconds. And for our elite skill, because as you might have probably noticed, there is a team going on, we choose Signet of Courage, which passively heals everyone around us, and when we use it, it heals everyone around us to 100% HP. So if you can use it in those clutch situations, it can really turn the tide of battle. For our specializations, we take Virtues, where we take Master of Consecrations, just because we really want that extra duration of Sanctuary, absolute resolution, so our team basically doesn't have to worry about conditions ever, and Battle Presence, which provides additional passive healing. So we got passive healing from Signet of Courage and Virtue of Resolve. Our next specialization is Honor, where we choose Invigorating Bulwark, which means basically it means more healing. Each time we block an attack, we get a buff to our healing, and it also reduces the recharge time of mace skills, which actually has a nice synergy with Protector Strike because it's block. Next we got Honorable Staff, Concentration, and bonus concentration if we actually use a staff, and it also reduces the recharge time of staff skills. And finally, Force of Will, which increases our vitality and improves our healing. Basically, it does more healing and makes us harder to kill. How much more healing we do is based off our vitality. And our final specialization is Valor, where we choose Strength of the Fallen, because, well, it seems like the best choice really, and it means we lose conditions every few seconds, and we also take longer time to die when we are downed. Next up we take Strength in Numbers. This is just more survivability, so combined with our passive healing, it makes our allies pretty hard to kill even if we don't actually do anything. And our final skill, Altruistic Healing, it just heals us for a tiny bit when we grant wound to any ally. And we grant quite a lot of wounds. We grant retaliation, regeneration, protection, ages, and lots of them are actually coming up kinda on their own, you know, the ones that proc from virtues and might sometimes. So it's really easy to, well, to get a proc of altruistic healing. Basically it just helps you survive longer encounters more safely. Now for our equipment, we take Commander's Amulet. Seems kinda like an obvious choice, with the Rune of Dwayna, just more healing. And in our stuff we put Sigil of Exposure, Sigil of Escape, and in the second weapon set we put Sigil of Stagnation and Sigil of Escape. Although these sigils don't really do all that much, because most of the sigils that are available are, you know, like condition based, or they provide might, but there isn't really a sigil that would like drastically improve your ability to heal or provide protection to nearby allies or something like that. Yeah, it would be obviously overpowered. So it basically means that we have relative freedom when it comes to sigils, but regardless of what you choose, you won't really do that much more damage, you won't really do that much more healing, and the Sigil of Escape seems kinda mandatory. So now we've got the general idea of how this build functions, and it's time to see how it holds up. To be honest, it's pretty good, and much unlike the Necromancer build, I was actually pleasantly surprised by the performance. As you would expect, this kind of playstyle favors longer encounters, so it really shines in those control point fights.
Your enemy sees the altar.
overall it was pretty fun to play this build, but it took me some time to fine-tune the details while sticking to the healing gimmick. Feels a lot like a healing druid, but a little easier to just pick up and play. I have some more of this build planned right now, but you can also expect some other kind of content in the near future. Feel free to leave your comments and suggestions below, and like and subscribe if you want to see more videos similar to this one. See you next time, and as always, thank you very much for watching.